This is the Messiah channel, prophetic channel dedicated to the end times. The Messiah is coming very soon, Yeshua, and you need to be alert. And there is countdown to the coming of the Messiah. The signs of his coming are very clear, and you can see wars and rumors of war. But I will take your attention to Jerusalem. I will direct you to Jerusalem, and we want to focus on the deception of dates, the dates that are set in Jerusalem, and the deception from Jerusalem, and or the falsification of prophecies, misreading the prophecies regarding Jerusalem, regarding the children of God, regarding who the true chosen of God are. I'm not here to confuse you. I'm here to set the facts straight. Revelation 2 verse 9, Revelation 3 verse 9, the Lord warned you that in the last days there will be people who claim that they are Jews and they are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. So the Messiah alerted you about the coming deception. He repeated it in Matthew 24 verse 4, that no man should deceive you. Let no man deceive you. And even if the man is a prime minister, whether he is a president or he is an evangelist and he has the biggest platform in America, don't let that evangelist deceive you. And today we are talking about deception of dates. And here we are looking at one particular date, May 14th, 1948. And the date is touted by evangelicals and political propagandists as a day when the state of Israel was founded, and that is a deception. I was watching a video, and the presenter was making a point that May 14th, 1948 represents the day when the true Israel was founded. And then he was quoting the prophet Isaiah, and he quoted Isaiah chapter 68, chapter 66, verse 8. So let's look at the prophecy in Isaiah chapter 66, verse 8. Who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day, or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. The prophet Isaiah is asking a question: shall a nation be born in a day? Basically, the prophet was talking about a day when the nation of Israel will be born. A day is coming. So he asked that particular question in Isaiah 66, verse 8. And the presenter was quoting Isaiah 66, verse 8, and he concluded that the day that the prophet was talking about has come, and it came on May the 14th, 1948, when a lot of Ashkenazi Jews moved from Eastern Europe and entered Palestine, entered the land that the Lord promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that is the day. That is the Isaiah day, and that is deception. And this is what I call deception of dates. So we are asking a question: has the true Israel been gathered? And to many people, including evangelicals, particularly evangelicals in America, including a famous one of them, Pastor John Hagee, he believes that Israel was founded in 1948, and that constitutes prophecy. And then they are even citing UN declaration in 1947 supporting the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine. And of course, they also talk about the Balfour Declaration and supporting the establishment of a Jewish state in Israel in 1948. And they are talking about a finger of God that brought Jews from Eastern Europe and other parts of the world to Israel in 1948. And that is a deception of dates. They are quoting the prophet Isaiah that Israel will be born in a day, Isaiah 66, verse 8. And they are falsely interpreting the Isaiah prophecy regarding the Hebrews who will be scattered over the world. In order to correct them, we need to go through the prophecy in Isaiah 11, verse 11. So we read Isaiah prophecy, Isaiah 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again, the second time, to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Patros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And then the prophet goes further in Isaiah 11, verse 12, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And so Isaiah the prophet, the holy prophet of the Most High, was talking about a day when an event will happen. That event is the regathering of the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. That day is not May the 14th, 1948. And so that is a deception of dates. And the day is the day when the prophet Isaiah talks about in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 10. And in that day, that is the day when Israel will be regarded prophetically based upon the decree of the Most High. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, his rest shall be glorious. The prophet Isaiah is making it clear to you and to fake evangelicals that the one who will be doing the regathering of the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah will be the Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus Christ. He's the one who is rejected and still rejected in Jerusalem, the capital of the 1948 state. And of course, the Messiah said that in the end of this, we are in the end of this. people will be calling themselves Jews. They are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. He repeated it 2 times in the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. And we are talking about 1948. And the presenter and the evangelicals, particularly American evangelicals, they are saying that in 1947, the UN voted in support of the establishment of the State of Israel. The UN, whose UN? UN is a Luciferian international organization, is controlled by the Freemasons. And a lot of big positions in the United Nations are controlled by people who have Freemason affiliations. I'm saying this because of inside information. In October 2024, I talked to an African diplomat from an African country. I will not mention the name of the country, who work with the United Nations, and he confirmed that major appointments are controlled by the Freemason, and there are certain positions that if you are not a member of the Freemason, you will not be selected. This diplomat also told me that the president of his country did not appoint him to be an ambassador to the United States because he was not a member of the Freemason. And so a Luciferian organization, United Nations, controlled by the Mason, the Masonic order, voted in support of the establishment of a state in Israel, purportedly to fulfill the prophecy in Isaiah. That is a blasphemy. And the Messiah even talked about the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews. They are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. So the UN, plagued with free Masonic doctrines and order, a Luciferian organization, was that organization that voted purportedly to establish a state in Israel in 1948. And of course, it's not only the Freemason controlled United Nations that was behind the establishment of the Jewish state. We also remember the famous letter, or rather the infamous letter, from the hands and the pen of Lord Balfour. Lord Balfour of England, supported by a financial oligarchy, the Rothschild family, and then supported by the president of America. Of course, America also is a nation that is controlled by the Masons, and they conspired, colluded, and cooperated in the establishment of a state that purportedly represents the chosen of God, the outcasts of Israel, and the dispersed of Judah. The presenter who was making a suggestion that May 14, 1948 was truly God appointed, he cited a celestial event that happened on that day. He claimed that on the day that the state of Israel was established, May 14th, 1948, there was a celestial event. I don't know whether it was a blue moon or whether it was a blood moon, whether it was a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, anything, but there was a celestial event, and he is saying that shows that it was the finger of God that established the state of Israel in 1948. Genesis 1:14, the Lord created the moon the sun and the stars are signs. And of course, the Lord uses the moon, the stars, and the sun as signs. And you should be very careful when you are interpreting celestial signs. Was there not a moon when Obama became president of the United States? Was there not a moon? When blood moon? When Pope Benedict resigned and Pope Francis came to the Vatican, were there no signs? Did lightning not strike St. Peter's Basilica? What does it mean? When lightning strikes St. Peter's Basilica, when Pope Francis became the Pope, does it mean that the Lord was confirming Pope Francis as his prophet? Is a sign of good omen or bad omen? Of course, the Messiah who said, in the last days, people will be calling themselves Jews and the chosen of God, but they will not be the chosen of God. Rather, they will be the synagogue of Satan. And so if there was a celestial sign on May 14, 1948, was it a sign of good omen or a sign of bad omen, indicating the deception of a date where the UN, Luciferian institution controlled by the Masonic order, voted to establish a state purportedly to be the state of Israel? What a mockery of the word of Elohim. And the other day I was watching a video, and the presenter is Pastor John Hagee from America, a famous evangelical. And he was saying that in 1948, a finger of God established the state of Israel. And then he also concluded that in 1967, the state of Israel captured Jerusalem, 1967. And he said that that ended the times of the Gentiles. What a mockery of prophecy. Has the times of the Gentiles ended? In Luke 21:24, the Messiah said that his people, the Hebrews, they will go under the sword of Gentile Rome, and they will be captives. They will be sent into captivity. And whilst they are out, Jerusalem, the holy city, the city of David, the coming headquarters of the Messiah, will be trodden down of Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is found in Luke 21:24. Pastor John Hagee is saying that the times of the Gentiles has ended because 1967 represents a time when Jerusalem came into the hands of the Jewish state, and so that ends the time of the Gentiles. What a mockery of prophecy. Because at the time of making this video, Jerusalem is still trodden down of Gentiles. The city is defiled. The city has been a haven for homosexuals. The flag of the LGBT is hoisted alongside the flag of America. And of course, the troops are there. The chariots and horses are there. The horse riders are there. The armada of ships are in the city, outside the city. And Jerusalem is trodden down by the Gentile armies in fulfillment of prophecy. And the times of the Gentiles, of course, they will be up. They will be up when the Messiah comes and gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. Of course, Jerusalem now is preparing for the coming of a Messiah. It's a wrong Messiah, preparing for the Antichrist. And the Antichrist, based upon prophecy in the Bible, will be trodden down the city of David until the day comes when the Messiah comes and with a breath coming from his mouth will defeat the army of the Antichrist. And finally, the time of the Gentiles will end. But now we see signs of the ending of the times of the Gentiles. I'm talking about Gentiles, including Gentile France, Gentile Germany, the Gentile powers that met in Berlin 1884, dividing and parting the land of the Hebrews. The Gentiles are still around. They are still around. Their end is coming because the Messiah will come and he will gather the nations, the sheep nations and the goat nations, and he will deal with them based upon the way they dealt with the Hebrews, not forgetting the trampling down of Jerusalem, not forgetting the sword that they used to kill and to destroy the Hebrews in Israel, including the city of Masada, where Negroes, Hebrews, fought, defended the city, but they died on the sword in fulfillment of the messianic prophecy in Luke 21:24. The armies of the Gentiles will still encompass Jerusalem and the land purported to be the state of Israel. And that will still be in fulfillment of Zechariah 12:2, because Jerusalem will be a cup of intoxication and armies of Gentiles will surround the city. It's part of prophecy until the time of the Gentiles are up. And that time will come when the true day will come. Isaiah 11:10. Isaiah 11:11 is the Messiah who will gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. Don't give credit to the Luciferian initiated, the Masonic controlled United Nations. Don't give credit to President Truman. I don't know his occult affiliations or Masonic orientation. Don't give credit to the financial oligarchs who purportedly establish a state in the name of Elohim. The Messiah said, in the end of days, of course, there will be a blasphemy of those who say they are Jews, but they are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. Be aware of the countdown to the coming of the Antichrist, because at the time of making this video, they assume that the state of Israel is the fig tree, fulfilling prophecies in the Bible, preparing to establish the third temple in Jerusalem, and getting ready the vessels and utensils for the animal sacrifices to restart in Jerusalem. they are planning to build a temple, and they are doing the bidding for God. They are working in God's interest in building the temple. They are working in God's interest in trodding down of the city. They are working in God's interest in hosting LGBT flags in Jerusalem, turning Jerusalem into the gay capital of the world. They are working in the interest of Elohim. And the United Nations, the Freemason controlled Luciferian organization, was working in the interest of Elohim when they penned a letter to establish a state on May 14th, 1948. Deception of a date. Deception of a date, misinterpretation of prophecy, and blasphemy of those who say they are Jews, they are not, they are of the synagogue of Satan. And so this message is very clear to you that there's deception of date, and I'm focusing on May the 14th, 1948, the day purportedly touted by evangelicals as the day when the state of Israel was founded, in direct contradiction of Isaiah 11 verse 10, 11 verse 11. They are doing the bidding of God. They are speaking in the name of the Lord. Fake evangelicals and people who use propaganda to promote their agenda. The time will come when the Lord will come and the Gentiles' army in Jerusalem will be defeated. Micah 5:10 talks about that day when the horses and the chariots of the Gentiles, they will be confounded, and Jerusalem will be ridden of fake prophecies. Jerusalem will be ridden of LGBT flags. Jerusalem will be ridden of the armies, the armada of ships from Gentile nations. And Jerusalem will be the holy city of the Most High, and it will be the city where the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah will go. Meanwhile, Jerusalem has been hijacked by those who proclaim they are the chosen of God at a time when the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah are still in captivity. They are in Assyria, Egypt, Patros and Cush, Ethiopia, and Elam and Shinar and Hamath, and most of them are in the islands of the sea beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. They changed the name, the Ethiopian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. The transatlantic slave trade took the Hebrews beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, of course, beyond the Atlantic Ocean, to the islands of the sea, which are pinpointed, which are coded in Isaiah 11, verse 12. And so, deception of dates, May 14, 1948. Was it the day when the Lord established the state of Israel? Per Isaiah 11, verse 11. Or is it a day where the UN Luciferian organization and Freemason controlled international organization aligned with the financial oligarchs and Masonic presidents established a state for those who claim to be the chosen of God? A statement that we have to take with a pinch of salt, based upon Revelation 2.9, Revelation 3.9, based upon Luke 21:24, and based upon Matthew 24, verse 4. Let no man deceive you And I'm here to tell you, don't let any man or a woman to deceive you about a date, claiming that the state of Israel has been established and it represents the state chosen by the Most High, and it fulfills a prophecy. Of course, we have to be aware that in the last days there will be deception, and today we are talking about deception using a date. The date is May the 14th, 1948. The date that they purport to have established a state for the chosen of God, the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah, who are still scattered in the ghettos in America and in the ghettos in Africa, in the Caribbean, in the islands of the sea. They are in the lands of captivity, are waiting for that day, the day talked about in Isaiah 66 verse 8, and supported by Isaiah 11 verse 10, Isaiah 11 verse 11, Isaiah 11 verse 12. Thank you for watching this video. My email is raptureafrica@yahoo.com. There's countdown to the coming of the Messiah. Repent of your sins, because when you see propaganda mixing with prophecy, when you see deception about dates, and when you see abomination in the holy city Jerusalem, you know that they are signs of the coming of the Messiah. And of course, it is also a sign of the coming of a false Messiah who will be accepted in Jerusalem. Thank you. Thank you very much. My email is raptureafrica@yahoo.com. I'm leaving it in the description box.